Welcome to my oral presentation for the Positions and Practice module for the MA in Photography at Falmouth University. I'm Paul, also known as Buzz because my hobby is beekeeping. I've been taking photographs for over 40 years and twice almost made the decision to be a professional photographer. I will be discussing my history in photography, the development of my thoughts, values and beliefs about my photography, my forthcoming project, and also some research I intend to undertake once the MA is concluded. My first camera, a Pentax ME Super, delivered very sharp, well-exposed pictures from my first roll of film, and I was hooked. I planned to complete my accountancy qualifications and then try my hand at being a press photographer. That dream died on the 13th of July, 1985. Live Aid. I realized that I couldn't take pictures of humans suffering. My instinct is to put the camera away and help. I realized I just didn't have that skills mix that press photography requires. A few years pass, and I'm working in an international role in human resources. I've worked all around the world, lived in the USA and China, and taken photographs along the way. I think, on reflection, that my pictures would match the style of the straight photography school that includes Stieglitz, Strand, and Evans. I was trying to achieve sharp, everything in focus shots that told it how it was. Cartier-Bresson's decisive moment, for me, was getting the helicopter in the right position to get the angle I needed, the wake of the boat, the wave to break where I wanted, the cloud to move to the right third of the picture. Today, I'm a documentary and travel photographer who's been to far-flung locations from Afghanistan and Pakistan to India to South Africa to Brazil. One of the biggest motivations I've got from photography was showing my pictures to friends and family of my travels, of the people I've met, the places I've been. I come from a very poor background where travel in the 80s and 90s was exceptional, so I was trying to bring the world home. My earliest influences were Lord Patrick Lichfield, who taught me how to light a portrait, through an Ansel Adams phase, to today's influences that include Steve McCurry, Annie Leibovitz, and Ugur Galenkus. My first love is portraits. I work hard to get the facial expression I'm seeking. I want the smile of warmth, the look of sorrow, the look of defiance, of joy. Sontag said in On Photography that to photograph someone is to violate them, and she went on to say it is a subliminal murder. Harsh and graphic words, but can we really accept such phraseology when we're taking pictures of people who have most likely been photographed before, who are smiling and hopefully enjoying the interaction with the photographer, i.e. me? This picture is of a professional photographer, so is it subliminal to him too? I am still travelling widely, no longer on business trips, but for pleasure. But fewer people see my photos. The photo album is now out of fashion, and that's a shame. I recently lost my father, and have gained great pleasure from leafing through his photo albums. I hope albums return, but it's highly unlikely. Maybe the photo book, the rather expensive replacement, will be more widely used. In personal development terms, I have witnessed a great deal of hardship and poverty. In India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan in particular, I have seen some of the poorest people and refugees on earth. I once drove through the mountains from Islamabad into Afghanistan. It was just after the Russians had left in the early 90s, and I was confronted with refugees making their way to Pakistan. Thousands of them, walking the hundreds of miles with absolutely nothing other than what they were wearing. For 2 weeks, I did not take one photograph. It was somehow poverty porn, and I did not wish to partake. It's the same for me in India. I avoid photographing the poverty there too. It inevitably creeps into one's pictures due to its pervasive nature, but I don't walk through the slums taking photographs. I want to respect the people's dignity and pride, not wield my power of observation, only to leave not having brought about change. Besides, if I spoke the language, would these people consent to my picture taking? This dilemma and tension, described by Sweetman in his paper Just Anybody, Images, Ethics and Recognition, he says he uses his guilt as a starting point. Perhaps that's it. My guilt at not being able to do anything is what stops me. I feel I have now developed into a more compassionate person, focusing more on informed consent. Perhaps I was always this way, but taking this MA course means I'm only just starting to understand it. The ethics of photography is proving a mine of information for me. I've been avidly reading the journal papers and sections of books that address ethics and find this a fascinating review of my own feelings and self-justification of why I feel the way I do in certain situations. In particular, Langman and Pick's paper, Dignity and Ethics in Research Photography, and their book, Photography as a Social Research Method, along with Wiles, Coffey, Robeson and Heath's paper, join Sontag in saying photography possesses a significant moral dimension and that ethical considerations become of central importance to research. I am left questioning how I can protect the dignity of my subjects as I focus on wealth and poverty for my research project. The project will be about Reading. Reading was named one of the best places to live and work in the Good Growth for Cities 2018 Index. It's among the largest 36 economic areas in the UK. Reading scored highly across 10 key indicators, including economic success, employment, health, income, and skills. In addition, Reading has the 8th best qualified workforce in the UK, with 50% of Reading's population educated to NVQ4 or above. It's also 5th in the UK for graduates, with 28% of Reading's population having graduated. The unemployment rate stands at 1.5%, and Reading has the third highest average weekly wage in the UK. Over £1 billion has been invested in Reading Station, and a new science and innovation park is being built at Reading University. Reading can tell you a success story. There's millions invested, high employment, and good prospects for the economy of the town. So why are there also a set of statistics that indicate a prevalence of poverty and social deprivation? The charity Child Poverty reports 179 children live in poverty in Reading. 1,140 of them live in Whitley, the borough I live in. A 2016 government report says there's a 9.4-year gap in life expectancy between the richest and poorest in Reading. Reading has, within a small geographic area, some of the most affluent and some of the most deprived neighbourhoods in the Thames Valley. The Cities Outlook report on the UK's largest city economies suggests that Reading is the fourth least equal city after Oxford, Cambridge and London. An interesting point here to note is that although the government and its agencies treat Reading as a city, it is in fact only a town. It is this inequality of wealth and poverty that interests me. I believe there's issues here that need to be highlighted. I want to investigate this as my project and use my time during the MA to work out how I'm going to do this. I am very interested in the work of Ugar Galenkus and how he has done this in his work Parallel Evren. Although he took other people's photos and combined them, I'll be using my own work. I said earlier I would also like to research a topic once my MA is completed. I'm very interested in the Overton window theory and how, with some research and adaptation, it could apply to photography. The Overton window is about acceptable topics of conversation and how that window shifts over time. A few years ago, it was taboo to discuss politics in the office. If you tried it, you were quickly shut down, or someone diplomatically changed the subject. Yet all that changed with Brexit, and politics and politicians are discussed openly and frequently. The Overton window of acceptable conversation topics has shifted. Could there be an Overton window for acceptable photographs? In photography, we see the window shift slowly and quickly. The way cars photographed with nude models led on the bonnet in the 1970s would not be acceptable today, and that's been a slow shift. War photos, however, have shocked and changed public opinion seemingly overnight, so there must be something similar to an Overton window in photography. It combines Sontag's compassion fatigue with political correctness, the Me Too movement, and the guidelines laid down by Ofcom, the Press Association. The influences could be endless. Thank you for listening.